All right, welcome. Here we go. Most practitioners are great at their craft and terrible at getting clients. Strategy Cafe exists to fix that. I'm Chris Thompson. I'm here with Timothy September, and every other Friday, we break down what serious business builders actually do: build pipelines, automate follow up, make revenue predictable. And this is episode number 9. If you're on the replay, find us live at pykthos.com/cafe, and we send out summary notes after every session so you won't miss a thing. Let's go. How you doing, Timothy?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Chris. Today is a great day here in the state of New York. I know you're in Canada. We hit 70 degrees supposedly today. We're
Nice.
supposed to hit, I don't know about you guys, but man, it's been cold the last week or so.
Now, did you say you're in Canada?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I was just commenting and before we hit record about how it's sad to be back here in the Great White North where snow landed. The moment after I got home from Florida, we spent 2.5 days driving back from Fort Myers. We spent 2 months there. The last few episodes, you guys all saw me, probably in a tank top and shorts. And now I'm back and I've supplemented with vitamin D again because there's hardly any sun, but that's okay. So
Better
I'm
than us
back.
having to see you with a bikini.
Yeah,
That's
that's
way
that's
different.
probably a very true thing. I'm back. I got to hang out with Mike Mandel yesterday for the Mike Mandel hypnosis side of the business. We meet usually Thursdays here in my studio, and we shot a whole bunch of new videos. And it's just great to be back and do things in the business that are not quite, as poolside and golf course side, I suppose. Anyway, let's get going. So today we're here for Strategy Cafe. I want to invite you guys in the chat. Just queue up your topics right now. So just start using the chat. In fact, let us know if it's your first time coming to Strategy Cafe. Let us know in the comments maybe where you are in your business, whether you're brand new and just sort of planning, whether you've been established for a long time, where your struggles are, and what would have to happen for this to feel like a win for you. That's the best thing that we can do, is know what would have to happen for you to feel like you got a win on today's call, because our entire mission, as we were saying just before we hit record, is add value, right? We're not here to pitch the Pykthos Mastermind. All of you know we run the Pykthos Mastermind, and we're happy to talk about that at another time rather than on these calls. These calls are here to add value. And I encourage all of you to think about that same thing in your own business. How can you add value to your audience so they will start to know, like, and trust you and think of you as the obvious person to come to when they're ready for whatever it is that you offer? So that's why I'm asking you to put that in the chat. And that's why we're going to add value here. Timothy, any opening remarks?
Yeah, I just want to say, for everyone that is new here, thank you so much for being here. We absolutely love having you guys in the audience, and this is your opportunity to ask us questions. So if you have something that you would like us to answer, or you have a question about anything related to business, marketing, strategy, all of that, if you in the chat just type in your question, I'll make sure I'm filtering through and we get them asked. And you
Yeah.
can also send us an email to team@pykthos.com. That's pykthos.com. And we will take those questions and make sure that we get them queued up here. Which, by the way, Chris, I do got a question from you for you, and
Hmm.
it's from Tommy.
Oh, all
Tommy
right.
says, I know ahead of time I won't make the live call as I'm going to be working here in the UK. Thank you from across the pond, Tommy. I have been coaching and using hypnosis for well over 10 years, and I get lots of good feedback from clients. However, I always retreat when I fail to get any traction with what I'm doing, and it's extremely frustrating. I know I'm excellent at what I do, it just seems safer to stay in my very safe, easy to earn other business. Can you address the reasons for being fearful of posting on social media and how I can overcome this? I'd also like to know how long I should give advertising before deciding it's not working. I have a half finished website, no online booking system, and no real system for getting clients. I think I'm waiting for the perfect conditions to happen, whatever that means. Please help, Tommy.
Oh man, I did see that email come in this morning, I think it was. So I did read that already, and I had a chance to think about it a little bit. And let's start with that one because I think actually I'm seeing people nod their heads interestingly here. How many of you, just either by maybe raising your actual hands, not your Zoom digital hands, but how many of you guys probably resonate with at least part of that message? Yeah, I'm seeing a lot. There are a few things going on in that message that Tommy sent us, so we'll address it. The part that I don't think we really want to address here is the how do you get over your fear of posting on social video? Because we're social media. We're not here to like therapize. You're not here to be your therapist and help you get over your phobias. You're all equipped with the tools and you all can find people to do it. But you do need to put yourself out there. We will address it though. The main thing that I'm determining here from Tommy's message is he's coming in with this loaded presupposition that advertising doesn't work. How long should I give it? And what was the actual wording here? I
Yeah,
wrote it
he
down.
said, "How long should I give advertising before deciding it's not working?"
Yeah. And this reminds me so much of Dean Graziosi, who's a business partner with Tony Robbins. A few years back, I was at Traffic and Conversion Summit, and I watched Dean give a really great class or presentation or keynote. And he said, people will come up to me all the time and say, oh, advertising doesn't work. It isn't working. I tried it, it doesn't work. And he said, that's like people saying, well, there was a plane crash. So obviously planes don't fly. Airplanes don't work. Let's go to first principles of physics. Lift doesn't actually exist. Planes can't fly. Aerodynamics is all fake. And, anyone selling you an airplane is just a fraud artist. It's like, obviously we know that's not true, right? Why do you think like that we all grew up? How many of us grew up with like Saturday morning cartoons and there were commercials? Yeah. Do you ever like remember going to your parents and saying, Dad, Mom, can you buy me this for Christmas? I want this for Christmas. Of course it works. So if advertising isn't working for you, it just means that something is broken in that process. But let's sort of
Mhm.
break down. I made a few notes on this. Whoops.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, I've got a few thoughts on this too.
yeah, go
Um,
for it.
yeah, so like let's work a little bit backwards here because he had mentioned, how long should you give advertising before you decide it isn't working? But I think all of the qualifying data that we need on why exactly it might not be working is at the very end of his email because he
Hmm.
says, I have a half-finished website, no online booking system, and no real system for getting clients, which
So what are you advertising?
yeah, well, which is interesting, right? Because Chris and I, over the last several weeks, well, primarily Chris, with the help of our Pykthos Mastermind members, has been building something called the Simple Machine, which is quite literally what Tommy's missing. And the Simple
Hmm.
Machine doesn't have to be this giant, complex, multi-fabric digital system. It could all be synthesized into just a couple of steps. But that's why advertising wouldn't work for someone like Tommy or maybe for you guys, because advertising and marketing in general is more than just I have a website and I do hypnosis or coaching, come find me.
Hmm.
I think that that's a common misconception. What are your thoughts, Chris?
I think, yeah, I'll pull up that image when we're ready in a moment. We can just show off that image of what a simple machine looks like because you're totally right that if he's saying how long should he give advertising before giving up on it, it suggests like I don't even know what he's advertising at this point, obviously. So I don't want to pick on him because we haven't talked to him. It's only an email. But if you're
Mhm.
in that position thinking advertising doesn't work, yet you don't have a finished website, proper machine that engages with people, then probably you got to fix that first, right? So there's a few things going on here, though. He's good. He says he's really good at what he does, and he's helped people. And then he retreats when it's time to grow. I don't think he means he retreats from facing clients or anything like that, but retreats from putting himself out there to grow. So that's creating the frustration because you're capable at what you do, but somehow you're just not comfortable putting yourself out there. And it's a bit of a chicken and egg thing because how are you going to really put yourself out there if you don't have something for people to respond to? I mean, it would be kind of like going to talk to a pretty girl and not being able to say, "Oh, and by the way, here's my phone number," something like that. So you need at least a minimum way of getting that conversation going. But he's seeing clients, so I would wonder, how are you actually getting the clients now? Obviously, it's not from an automated booking funnel that doesn't exist, and obviously, it's not from a half-finished website. So what is the method that you're using to get clients? Because something is working, and maybe just starting from that thing that's working and figuring out what's the next logical step. We use this metaphor of kicking the ball down the field. Eventually, we want to get it all the way down the field. Imagine a little kid trying to kick a soccer ball way down a big soccer field, one kick at a time, right? So you're the little kid and you just make one little kick down the field of the ball. How can we do that? Well, maybe it's to just have a simple something like a Google document that explains how to work with me. Here's a link to, how to work with me or what I do. If you don't have a video yet, that's no problem. You can probably write down what you do. So that will at least stop you from feeling so fearful about putting yourself out there. Because if you know that you can legit help people and you're adding value for them, you're not selling people, you're just helping them, then it doesn't feel so scary to go out there and, hey, here's what I do. Here's a tip, and here's where you can get more information. That's a lot more comfortable than, oh, come and book with me. Like, I'd like to take your money kind of thing. So that would be one thing. What else have you got to say about that, Timothy?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things, right? Like it's a couple of, I guess I don't want to say issues because like issues as Mike would say, right? But
Issues, yeah.
yeah. But I do hear the fear. That's obvious, right?
Hmm.
We're not going to therapize on these calls, but the strategy around it to overcome any fear is to be brave and do the thing regardless of the fear. That's what courage is, right? And so in that moment, if you're struggling to get on social media or do videos or anything like that, you just practice. You could practice getting on video, hitting record, and never posting. You can just
Yeah.
practice on what it's like being on camera. How do I look? How do I sound? What can I get better at? Those things are things that you could absolutely practice. That's the strategy that I would do is just practice that. When it comes to the whole advertising and no system or whatnot, I loved your thought around the whole dating thing because what this sounds like, Chris, is like a person, let's say advertising, right, is like me going to the person I want to date and asking them for their phone number. And then they might say, "Oh yeah, I would love that." And then they send me a text message saying, "Hey, this is Jim or Sally or whoever your ideal avatar or person you're trying to talk to is, and this is my phone number because you asked for it." But then there's no follow-up. Like, Tommy here just leaves his phone notifications on silent and he doesn't know what to do with it because he even told us
Yeah.
there's no system, there's no nothing, right? So
But something is working,
but
and
something is
we need
working.
to know what that is. If he was here, that's what we'd be
Yeah.
eliciting is like, what are you actually
What are
doing to
you
get
doing?
clients?
Yeah,
Let's
because
figure that out because you're probably having a conversation with them somehow. You
yeah.
just need to figure out how to do more of that.
Yeah, especially with a decade of experience of doing this.
Yeah.
There is a missing bridge somewhere, and
I
I think
guarantee you
figuring out what that gap is. Yep.
it's probably a very simple matter of two steps. One, how do you find the right people to start the conversation with? Two, how do you automate the next, not automate the conversation, but automate the initiation of the next part of the conversation so that you as the human can get involved, have more dialogue, close more people. It's that simple.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like again, I know before we hit recording, I called out Surrender for the awesome value that he shares. But then what does he do? Turns it into a conversation every single time. And if you turn it into a conversation, it's much, much easier to turn that into a sales conversation if it's a good fit without being pushy or anything like that. Not if you agree, Surrender. I'm sure yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I
Okay.
think in general for everybody, the more conversations you have, the more opportunities you have to one, figure out what it is your customer actually wants, and
Hmm.
two, you can get permission to sell to them, right? Nobody likes being sold to. We hate unsolicited advice. Well, nobody likes unsolicited pitches either.
Yeah.
Right? So in this case, if somebody says, "Hey, I would love to know more information about what you do, who you are," they're giving you permission to at least
Yeah.
talk about your service, your product, how much it costs, what the investment would be, right?
Hmm.
So again, have more conversations and then get permission. Always get permission to pitch. So this is something we teach in the mastermind too. Even on discovery calls, you don't go from "let me talk about your problem" immediately into "here's how much it costs." We always, always, always tell people during the discovery call, ask, "Hey, would now be a good time for me to just talk about how when we work together and if we're a good fit, this is what the investment would be and what exactly you can expect from our working together." If you get yes from that, then
Hmm.
they're giving you permission to sell to them. So that can help lower the resistance as well if some
Hmm.
people have issues. What do you think?
I'm noticing, I said I was going to screen share that simple machine image, which is probably a good time to do that right now because I see in the chat, Jonathan had
Mhm.
said, strategy question about funnels. Should I do one funnel to book discovery calls and download a free PDF or do separate funnels? And I think this is a good time to answer that one as well.
Yeah.
Is that good for you,
Yeah.
Timothy?
Yeah. And
All
then
right.
while you've been doing that, inside the same document, we've got, and just so you guys, because we like marketing in the open and all that, we've got a document of all the questions that people are asking. So I'm just adding those in here so we
Oh,
can make
perfect.
sure we get to
Okay.
them.
I was just going to suggest that we do that because it's so hard sometimes to keep up with the chat. Okay, so um, I could go into presenter mode, but I apologize that you guys are just seeing my whole browser here. So hopefully this will work. But this is the simple machine that we decided to put in. Well, we didn't decide to put into an image. Google's Gemini Nano Banana image generator did this based on a detailed prompt we gave it to explain in a nice, because I'm a sucky artist, this is a nice way of explaining what a simple machine looks like. So you have traffic sources coming in. It could be anything, right? It could be digital stuff, but it could also be you're attending a meeting of, like, in your community, you're at some sort of networking event and you tell people about you. They ask about you and they come and visit your website. So generally from some source of traffic, you're going to, let me get rid of this. How did I do that again? I don't want that. There we go. Traffic heads over to some sort of freebie opt-in page. And this is to Jonathan's question, should you have a separate funnel? Yes, you should. So traffic goes to a specific funnel that offers something of value in exchange for contact information. And that could be any kind of lead magnet, whatever you want. Now, when people give you their name and email address and maybe SMS for follow-up and stuff, you'd typically want to use that form submission as a trigger for some very simple automations. And we like to use two in parallel. One, I'm going to call here the short-term engagement sequence, or STE, short-term engagement, where you're going to deliver what you promised on the opt-in page. You're going to build rapport with them, provide them some context, introduce the next logical step, right? Because you're always using whatever they're doing now to sell the next logical step. You have to spoon feed people, right? You have to tell them what to do. That's why call to action is such an important thing in marketing. So they opt in for a thing, you give them the thing, and then you continue to engage them with more value added information, useful stuff. The last thing you want to do is a lead magnet that goes, thanks, we'll be in touch. That's horrible, right? So now in parallel with that, we like to use something called an indoctrination sequence. I learned this from Ryan Dice at digitalmarketer.com. And the whole point is it's like it could be more than three, but I typically go with three emails because it keeps it simple that just introduces people to what you do, your brand, your story, your hero, zero to hero story, best like case studies, best content. You're really just welcoming them into your universe. So these are happening in parallel, and you can time it so that maybe they get the first email in this sequence, the short-term follow-up sequence, like right away on day zero, and then they get their indoctrination welcome email maybe 1 hour later. But then maybe on off days, like on day two, they get another email here. On day four, they get another email here. You can sort of time it, and we're building it out for you guys to show you what it looks like. But they're having these engagement emails happening. Both of these sequences are really just designed to invite the person into a booking call, right? And that, Jonathan, your question was, should it be a separate funnel? Yes. This is the opt-in funnel. In your case, you're giving away a PDF, let's say, and this is the booking call funnel. This is a separate step. So this action here in the opt-in funnel is designed to engage with them by email to take the next logical step, which is to book a call with you. Now, the last piece of the puzzle is, since they probably won't, the majority of people will not book a call with you yet, you want to also add them in at the end of the engagement sequence. You want to dump them into another type of sequence called long-term nurture. And you can tell AI made this image because long-term nurture doesn't, everyone sees that with their brain, but there's no M here. A long-term nurture is a separate type of campaign where you're creating really useful content that you're just sending out once or twice a week, and it's generally evergreen content. So you don't want to say, oh, what happened in the news this week, because next week, that's a lie. not that it's a lie, it's just not accurate anymore, right? So you want to have a sequence of emails that you build up over time, which is easy to do. Just kick the ball down the field, one kick at a time, one email at a time, till you're building up a bunch of really great content that you're sending people. And what are those emails going to generally do? Invite them to maybe consume the longer form piece. Maybe it's a blog post that you did. Maybe it's a YouTube video that you put out. Maybe it's an article that you just found from another authority source that you found super awesome. And if you're the one sharing that with them, they're going to love you for that. And you can, of course, use things like the PS statements in your email to get them back to book a discovery call with you. So that's the simple machine. It's really, it looks like it's a lot, but it's not. It's only a few pieces interconnected in a logical way, and that's why we call it a simple machine. So hopefully, Jonathan, that answers your question about should you have a separate funnel for your lead magnet and your discovery call? Yes, absolutely. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Jonathan. All right. So I'm seeing here, before I go to Mary Ann's email, I just want to look at the chat. So Surrender actually asked, I have many digital products, but I don't offer them for sale. I've been using
Yeah.
them as value adds only for the most part. I feel
Hmm.
like I'm missing what is needed to sell these digital products.
Yeah, okay, I can relate because Mike Mandel Hypnosis, we have now accumulated, I don't know, like 40 different products. And actually, Timothy, you and I have spent lots of time talking about this, right? We typically do not offer any of these, like we don't make any effort to sell those products individually anymore. We still have a products page, but generally what we've done is bundle them all together and make them available in either one or two memberships. So we have the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy, which includes all the hypnosis related stuff. And then we created something called the Brain Software Syndicate, which is a much lower price point, but it doesn't include the hypnosis training and NLP essentials and stuff like that. And they're basically bundles of products with communities around them. And so we bundle them. Now, since I don't know if you intend to ever run a community or anything like that, you are more doing like training and one-on-one coaching. I would probably want to have maybe a page that just lists the products and people can buy them should they want to, and establish a price point for them that's high enough that when you tell people this is a bonus, like this is a thing I'm going to give you, they could verify, they could go to your website and see, oh, that product is actually for sale for $297 and I get it for free. So it helps make it look much more legitimate rather than, oh, I have this thing, I don't actually sell it, but believe me when I say it, it's worth $500. If you sold it and it was clearly for sale on the shelf, I think that would go a long way. But yeah, I am a big fan of have assets, bundle them together so that they're hugely valuable, and then you can make really amazing offers to people.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the only pitfalls of the way that you explained it, Chris, is if you do sell one off and you have it bundled with something else, then you end up with that gap where customers go, but because I have this, does that mean I get a discount on this? And if you bundle it together, then it's like, well, how do I, give them the discount or what have you? I don't know how do you
You,
typically handle that for
I just
information,
ignore
Chris?
it now because like now almost nobody buys individual products from us. Like we still get at least at Mike Mandel Hypnosis. I'm speaking of that business right now because Pykthos does not right now. We don't sell any individual products at all. Um, if we did, I think we'd do the same thing though. People aren't buying individually. Like they're not going to our website and buying Mindscaping or buying NLP Essentials or buying Stage Fright and Performance Anxiety because they can buy the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy for well $1 for a trial, and then after the first week it's $49 a month, and every product is just included, so they just don't buy it. Why would they buy it on a one-off basis when they can get it in the bundle? Now if they do, no problem, 60-day money back guarantee on product sales, and after that we credit it to you if you want to become a lifetime member. That's the way we do it. Like I haven't actually seen anyone else do it that way. But if we sell lifetime membership and let's say it's $3,000 and that includes everything, and you've already been, let's say, a monthly member for 10 months, oh, and you happen to buy this particular guest trainer package that we sell, no problem. You send in an email and you say, I'd like to become a lifetime member. that gets turned into a custom quote where basically Vanessa just looks you up and goes, oh, well, you spent this amount of money here and this amount of money here, and let's take that off the price. Here's your custom quote. So now nobody feels ripped off because they're not spending any more. So if they did buy an a la carte thing, great. That just makes your lifetime purchase cheaper later. But it doesn't happen very often anymore. It's mostly people are buying memberships.
All right. That's helpful. Gives me something to think about for sure.
Yeah, we should definitely have you jump on the Wednesday call if you can make it, and we can hot seat more stuff around this because
Okay.
you
Yeah.
have a massive potential with the stuff you're doing. You already do it. I know you do it you do it in one-on-one, but I want to ramp up the level of automation that you can spark more conversations.
hmm Like, okay. Yeah. No, that sounds like a good idea. More
Yeah,
conversations, more sales. I definitely agree with you guys on
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. Okay, cool. What else we got, Timothy?
Yeah. So I think we could probably go to Mary Ann's. Then we'll make sure that we get to the other stuff that's been popping up here in the
Yeah,
chat.
raise your hands in Zoom, guys, just so we know. If you want to unmute and you have good audio, don't do it if you're like driving and you're in a wind tunnel or if the microphone's on the other side of the room. But if you do want to like raise your hand and let us know that you want to talk here, because that way it's more interactive than just us talking. But
Hmm.
yeah, we have a question from Marianne that
Yeah.
was sent in via email. Marianne's not here, is she? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
was that was Marianne? Do you want to just ask your question out loud? Because you emailed it in and you're here, so let's hear from you.
I I can't remember my question exactly, but being
Oh,
completely new, can you hear me now?
yes,
Yeah.
hear you loud
Yeah.
and clear.
Um, it was apart from having conversations with people about hypnosis and what it is and what it isn't,
Right.
what would be my basic first steps if
All
I
right.
just want to build a simple business? I don't want to take over the world.
Yeah,
I'm
you
going
actually
to
had that in
retire
your.
soon.
I love that.
Yeah.
You had here. I'll read the email that you actually sent in, which was I'm learning and I'm not qualified in hypnotherapy yet. Aside from telling people what hypnotherapy is and is not, what would be your best advice for my very first steps to set up? I want a simple, strong, basic structure that can be built upon if needs be. This will be a part-time business. I'm retiring from my mental health practitioner job, and I'm not planning to take over the world anytime yet. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. That's me.
Okay, cool. So the cool thing is because you sent that in, I was able to play around with a little AI image generation for you guys. And so, yeah, I basically put my thoughts together this morning on that one, Marianne, and I'll share the image that we came up with. And that way we can talk around it. Okay, cool. So this is like designed for you.
Wow.
Yeah, cool, right? I mean, now I did not make this. I brain dumped my verbal response to you into an AI tool and then just had it
Mhm.
build this. But I'll sort of talk around it and Timothy will join me. So because you're not finished training in hypnotherapy yet, it kind of doesn't make sense. So I'm going to say this right off the bat. Like you'd probably not be a good candidate to join us in our mastermind right now if you were wondering, which is totally fine. You can always do it when you're ready. It doesn't mean you
Mhm.
will be like you would be an ideal person when you're ready, when you finish. It's sort of like imagine that you have an expertise or you're building an expertise in installing custom cabinets for people's kitchens, and you're still going through cabinetry school, if that's a thing. I don't know what they call it, but if you're not ready yet to actually start the business, then there's no point in, getting a fancy CRM tool and automation systems and building funnels. So all this do not do yet stuff, there's no point in doing any of that yet. So here's what I think you should do is decide who you want to help. Now, you come from I don't know if the mental health space that you come from is a part of that where you're like, hey, I have a ton of experience helping people in my normal job with this kind of problem. And because I'm adding hypnotherapy as my skill set, I really want to create this business where I help people with this specific thing. Whatever that is, you have to define who it is that you want to help and figure out what is the outcome that they want. Because I guarantee you, the clients are not thinking to themselves, oh, I want to be hypnotized for X. No, they just want X, whatever the outcome is. They don't care how they get it. So you want to create some thought process around what you do that hypnosis is part of, but that doesn't have to be your marketing message. Oh, I do hypnotherapy. It's I help people with this problem get this result and how I do it. And you want to come up with some sort of clear, articulated method that's makes you sound unique, not I'm a hypnotherapist and I compete with every other hypnotherapist. And I remember actually watching a little presentation from our friend Jason Lynette recently, and he said, imagine the people who come in and they just look for hypnotherapist near me. Well, that's going to become a race to the bottom. And all they're going to do is like send the same email to 4 or 5 different hypnotherapists saying, hey, I need help quit smoking. How much do you charge? You don't want that. You want the people who are going to see you producing valuable content that speaks to them, and then they're going to define in their mind, oh, Marianne's the person I want to work with, not some random hypnotherapist. So define the result, just define the method that you're going to use, etc. Start practicing, of course, with real people, because as you do this, you can now start collecting testimonials. You don't have to publish them, but you want to be gathering the comments from people so that when you do end up building some sort of funnel or whatever, you can be putting, actual quotes from actual people that you've worked with about what you've done. Keep it simple. One, just define what it is that you're going to want to produce in terms of a very simple, clear offer. Just define a very clear, simple way that people will contact you, whether it be an email or whether it be an automated booking funnel or something like that, and a really simple explanation of how you help. And optional, I would start thinking about what is one common problem that your audience has that you could help them with a quick free resource. If you could create a free resource that would be gated with like, give me your name and email and I'll give you the resource. That's a lead magnet. You could build those things. So that's what I would be doing if I were you. Timothy?
Yeah, I would leverage I would do everything that Chris said, and I would leverage the audience that you already have,
Mm.
which are any of the previous clients that you worked with in your mental health job. It might also benefit.
Yes, sadly, I'm not allowed to do that.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I would
yeah.
love to.
The other thing that I would say, and we've had a bunch of mastermind members do this, where they actually partner up with the center or the wellness clinic or whatever they were working in, and then used their services as an adjunct to what was happening. So if the treatment plan was, oh, you should be doing, like 7 sessions of, CBT and blah blah blah. Oftentimes those clients would benefit from some type of hypnosis, and so you might not be able to add it as part of your treatment plan, but what they could do is say, well, I think for this specific thing, you could go
Yeah,
over here
they
and,
could maybe signpost me. It
yeah,
depends. I don't know if I would need clinical hypnotherapy, but I'll find out, yes, and see what they say.
yeah,
Mm,
utilize the strengths of, in the network that you already have. That's the best way
mm,
that you can at least get started without having a lot of things.
mm.
Ultimately, though, the same thing that I would tell you is anybody that I would mention this to that's brand new, and that's just get repetitions in, get practice in of doing the thing, right? Like hypnosis is a skill and it's something that you have to work towards to get better at. So whether it's learning techniques or protocols and all of that stuff is great. That's why in the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy, we ensured that we had practice rooms and all the practice kit activities and everything for you guys to do so that you do get confident and you get good at this stuff so that when you are ready to build your business, whatever that looks like,
Mhm.
you're at least competent and confident enough that anyone that walks through your door, you can work with. So if that's the one thing for anybody that's stopping you is like, I don't know if I'm confident enough, how do I get started building my business? I'd work on the confidence first.
Right.
What parts
Okay.
of that advice landed the hardest right now?
Mm, uh, the the most useful in that seems to me is define the outcome
Thank you. Yeah.
that they want.
Yeah. Do you
Because I
know?
mean, I deal with a lot of, depressed, anxious,
Mhm.
grieving people.
Okay.
Um, but yes, define the outcome. That's a good one.
Okay. And then not just the outcome, but who is that audience, right? Who is that ideal client you want to work with? What is the problem that they're coming to you with? Is it very generic at this point, or have you got a sense of what you want to specialize in? And that doesn't mean you only work in your specialty, but you're speaking to an ideal client. Like, who is that person? Do you have that in your mind?
Somewhat, yes,
Okay.
probably female,
Okay. Yeah.
with, certain age and all of that.
Perfect.
Yes.
That's a great starting point is like I work with women. Maybe I mean, we've actually seen a lot of let's say hypnotherapy coaches, and they'll work with, let's say, postmenopausal women who are about to retire and kind of don't know where they are in life. Their kids are growing up, they're out of the house, maybe they don't have grandkids or something. They don't really know where their life is going and they need some sort of direction. And that can become a really, I mean, that's not my niche. So if I sound a little incongruent about it, it's
Yes,
because I
that's
don't,
fine.
yeah, I don't deal with that. But that would be an amazing niche for someone who could really help that audience, right? So that's the
Yeah.
kind of zoning in we want to do.
Yes. And I'm really, I mean, I haven't got very far along the learning lines, but I'm really loving the Mindscaping. I think that's
Awesome.
wonderful. Yeah.
Let me give you a little advice on that then, just for everyone. This is you guys are going to find this counterintuitive since I run the company Mike Mandel Hypnosis that sells Mindscaping. As a business person, look at me using these red flags to point. You do not want to have a website that says, I am a certified mindscaping practitioner, because guess what? Your clients couldn't care less. They don't know what it is, and you shouldn't market that to them as mindscaping. Does that make sense? Like, how
Yeah.
many people have you seen have a hypnotherapy website and I am certified by, I don't care what it is. They could have done RTT or HMI or MMHA
Yeah.
or
Five
ABC.
path. Yeah.
Nobody cares, right?
Nope. Yeah.
That doesn't
'Cause
speak to your client.
because the only people that know about that stuff and care about it are the people
Hmm.
that learn those methods.
Yeah, I mean, you don't think about it. If you don't go to your dentist and see them plastering up. I have a certification in crown reconstruction from the International Federation. Well, I don't know what. Like, nobody would
Yeah.
care, right? We wouldn't know. But if yeah, this is the guy you go to for crowns. He's the crown guy. I have
Right.
broke my teeth and I need the crown guy.
Yeah.
Great.
Did that help you, Marianne?
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you very much.
All
You're
right.
welcome. Thank you so much. All right. So we have two hands up. We have Soleil and we have Catherine. So I'll ask Soleil to unmute. There you go. Hello, hello.
I was just listening to do you know the Paul McCartney album Flowers in the Dirt? And there's a song called Où est le soleil? I was listening to that album like this week. All right.
It's funny. So I have two things, I guess. One, I have a little follow-up on Marianne's question, or I guess the advice to Marianne, when you note that she should find people to practice on and
Mhm.
collect testimonials. In doing so in the real world setting, not, in an MMHA practice room, because you want to know that your protocol's actually working or whatnot. Um, Prestige is important, and I'm
Mhm.
curious how you set prestige up when you're saying, "Hey, I'm looking for people." I mean, I know you're not saying like to practice on, but I'm just starting out. I'm looking for testimonials or whatever. We've actually talked about it before, a couple of us. How do you do that while maintaining prestige, which is required for the hypnosis? Um,
Well, I think it depends on your audience. So let's say you're in the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy and you're using the practice rooms. Well,
yeah,
everyone knows that you're a student just like they are. So it's not as important to have prestige. The sense is we're just practicing with each other. And if I help you get a great result and then you give me a wonderful comment, great. Okay. But outside of the training environment, your prestige can start as simply as, yeah, I'm studying hypnosis. Oh, wow, amazing. Not I'm just learning. Like, oh, I've been studying hypnosis for quite some time. Not, yeah, I'm on lesson 1 of the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy. I just borrowed my very first hypnosis book from the library. That's not going to build prestige, right? So I've been studying hypnosis. Would you like to experience something? Yes, great, awesome. And then just speak about it with authority, whatever level of authority you can speak to it with, and do some work with people. And then after the fact, how was that for you? Would you mind giving me some comment or follow up? If it's a real client, just follow up with them after the fact and do an interview after. Hey, would it be cool with you if I can jump on Zoom with you and get you to talk about your experience working with me, given that you've told me that now you're not afraid of speaking in public anymore? And if you do, as a gift, I will credit, you can credit them like a free session, or you can send, a friend. I'll give a friend a free session, something like that. There's lots of things you can do to just reward people if they're willing to share on camera. Now, that doesn't mean buying a testimonial or anything like that. That's, hey, if you let me record a Zoom call with you where we're just talking about the outcome you gave me, that would be amazing. And I would be willing to do X in return because you're buying their time effectively that way, which is totally ethical.
Yeah. So yeah, I was worried about the prestige, right? Like, hey, I've never
Mhm.
treated anybody with helped anybody with fibromyalgia before, but
Yeah.
you don't want to
You'll
promise
build it up over
anybody.
time, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you're from day one. I mean, I'm thinking back to when Mike Mandel was doing his very first hypnosis, like entertainment gig on, it wasn't live television, his first one, but it was in 1975. I mean, he was just this weird looking kid with Led
Ed
Zeppelin style
Leplin.
rock hair. And he had only as much prestige as he could portray from his skill in doing things like mentalism and all that. But he hadn't done hypnosis professionally at that point. That was his first time. So totally different prestige. He could throw like a card effect and blow people's minds, and that's going to have now borrowed. Well, if he can do that, he must be an amazing hypnotist too, right? I'm. I'll ask him over this. Maybe we'll put this on a podcast episode. How can you build prestige in one area when you don't yet have it? But just do it and then build it up over time. Don't let it be a reason to not move forward.
Right. Act as if.
Yeah.
So my I guess the question I was coming for was more Facebook and Facebook advertising.
Mm.
It's turned into this very complex, like you'd almost have to be a brain surgeon or brain surgeon level of education to figure out all the darn choices and options that they now often offer when you're setting it up. And I guess that's where I'm looking for the help because the options are just endless, right? And you do some pretty good Facebook marketing, sir, because it
Oh,
shows up
thank
in
you.
my feed all the time. So
Yeah, I will confess though, I rarely touch the Facebook ad manager. Timothy actually is our resident expert. We decided at Pykthos because at MMH we have an agency that handles all that. We make the critics,
okay.
we make the ads, but
Yeah.
I don't push as the CEO. I'm not in there pushing the buttons on, setting the ad campaigns up.
Mhm.
So we hadn't really done this ourselves, and knowing that we were going to be wanting to walk people through this inside of the Pykthos mastermind, we decided, all right, well, within Pykthos, when we're ready, which is as of a couple of months ago, we started running our own ads. And Timothy's been the one in Ad Manager doing most of the work. I've been slowly catching up to him. So he can definitely speak more to the actual setup procedures. I think before I turn it to you, Timothy, I have two things I want to say. First of all, it's actually not getting harder. It's getting easier because you don't have to, what's the technical term? Dick around with all the targeting options. It's way easier now that Facebook behind the scenes is using all the AI tools to like look at your ads, know who you should be targeting, and do that for you. So you're in charge of really the content, the creative message, the message itself. The rest is pretty easy with some stuff Timothy can probably chime in on. The second thing is, are you ready to advertise yet? Where are you sending them? What's the call to
Right.
action?
Yeah, I just have System IO that I'm using for now because it's, super low cost
Yeah.
and fairly easy to set up.
But
Um,
that's a platform. So where are you sending them?
oh,
What are
well,
you? Yeah.
to a landing page there, right?
Okay.
So my
Okay.
lead I'm doing like an 8 week breakthrough type thing for parents stuck in survival mode. And my lead magnet is a 90-minute free workshop. And from there, then you make a pitch for your
Okay. If you could drop your link to that landing page in the chat, then we could take a look at it behind the scenes here too. And if not
Mhm.
on this call, we can just get back to you after the fact. And then Timothy, do you want to talk at all about like your
Yeah.
experience in Facebook stuff? Because you're pretty much an expert now.
Oh, I mean, I'm nowhere close to like an ad agency or whatnot. Those guys are
Yeah.
really smart.
Good
I,
enough to
I,
be dangerous, though. That's the whole
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
we don't want to be experts in every single freaking thing because it's just not practical. But you
yeah.
got to know enough to be able to sort of know if you hire someone to help you out that they're not full of crap.
Yeah. I've so I wrote a book. It's going to be coming out recently, and I'm flowing through like I'm rereading it because I handed it off to a wonderful publisher, Liesel. Actually, she's in the call here, and her and her team are doing an amazing job. So I'm
I thought you were kidding when you said you wrote a book. I thought you were joking that you wrote a
no
book
no
about
no no
Facebook
no and
advertising.
no. There's a rhyme and a reason for this. So
Yeah.
all I'm saying is that in that book, I talk about how it's wonderful to be to have enough knowledge to be dangerously helpful.
Yeah.
And so in this case, when it comes to Facebook, I think that I am dangerously helpful because I know just enough, right? So one thing that I have learned doing all of this is one, it takes time to let the ads run until you get meaningful data. The second part, and this is something that not a lot of people do, but something that we absolutely hound all of our mastermind members on, and that's recording the metrics because you have to know whether your ads are even working or not, right?
Hmm.
So the only way to do that, Soleil, and for everyone else, is to make multiple ads. When we talked with our creative team at Mike Mindell Hypnosis, the one thing that they talked about is that Facebook went through a big design change underneath the hood of their engine, and it's now called Andromeda, and it's all AI driven. And what Andromeda does from Facebook is it'll look at all of the ads and it will decide based on not just an algorithm, but the actual AI reasoning behind the algorithm to decide what specific ad should go to what specific person. It used to be that you just have to put up as many ads as you can and kind of like shotgun blast it to the world and hope that it works. But Andromeda now is really good at knowing this person typically logs in at this time and they work here, so they probably feel this way, therefore hit them with this ad and has all these other like
Hmm.
connectors and all this other stuff that I don't even understand. But the principles still apply. What they suggest is that if you're going to run ads, have at least 5 image ads, one carousel ad, and one video ad. And all of the ads that you're running as one big ad set have to be different. And I don't just mean change the words, maybe update the color of the background. They have to be unique enough that Facebook will recognize that they are entirely different than each other
Yeah.
and they will know exactly where to put your ad. So, for example, we have one campaign for a lead magnet. And in that campaign, so I'm now talking Facebook language.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Facebook,
running this right now for Strategy
right.
Cafe and also our free report that we offer.
Yeah, many of you guys probably saw our Pykthos ads. How many of you guys, show of hands, came here from an ad?
Somebody even
Yeah, a
said that
couple.
in the chat.
Yeah, somebody said that. Yeah. There we go, Catherine. Yeah. So essentially, how the Facebook ad manager is hierarchically set up is at the very top you have your campaign level, and that's where you decide how people find you. Is it a sales campaign, lead magnet campaign, that kind of stuff. And then
Hmm.
below that, you have what's called your ad set, and that is essentially telling the campaign, this is the kind of audience that I want and how much I'm willing to pay for it, etc. The ad set level is where you do all of your what age are they, where do they live, those kind of demographics. But then the ads themselves, those are the individual ads, that 5 image, one carousel, one video, that you should have all in the same ad set. It used to be different. Now Facebook's saying put it all in one ad set and let Andromeda be the thing that determines where it goes. So that's what we've done. So for all of you guys who have seen all our ads in Facebook, MMH or Pykthos, we're doing it the exact same way, and this is how it was taught to us. So
Yeah.
that's where I would start is go to Canva, look at all their Facebook templates. What kind of stuff looks like it would fit your brand? And then you just want to start making variations of it. One thing that you can do now that we couldn't have done back in the day is we can use AI to help us make the images. In fact, Facebook, just the most recent update as of this week, now has something that they call the Advantage Plus tool, but it's Advantage Plus AI. So you can have an image, and then with a toggle, it'll turn that one image into a video with music, with background, with B-roll. It will, like, I just saw this today. So
And it gives them options, right? So
options, yeah.
one of the reasons that to Timothy's point, the reason that the images and the videos need to be very different from each other, like give you an example. Let's say I was trying to sell this iPhone case. I wouldn't have a picture of me holding it like this. and another picture of me holding it like this and be testing, is the left hand or the right hand going to be more effective for, notice how I did that cleverly. This is actually my left hand that I called my right hand, but because you guys are looking at me this way. Anyway, that's not different enough. The reason that this was happening is people were using AI tools to come up with like dozens of variations that were not really that different from each other. So Facebook kind of got stuck like, what do I do with all this slop? So the algorithm rewards uniqueness. So massively different images and ads and video, like videos. So you might, if you're doing a, I don't know, if you're doing a weight loss program or something like that, you might have one video of you standing in a kitchen, preparing a meal and talking about how diet affects weight loss. And then you might have another video of like standing outside of a gym or walking around in a park, that speaks a bit more to the idea of daily exercise and how that supports weight loss. Those are two totally different angles, right? And two different scenes. So they're very different ads. So if that makes sense, that's the reason. They don't want like just in the kitchen holding a sandwich, in the kitchen holding a pita wrap. Too similar.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And yeah, so ultimately for you, Soleil, or for anybody, one, make sure you have a place to send people if you're advertising. Two, make sure you have enough content in your ads that they're all unique. And again, recommendation is at least a minimum of 5 different images, one carousel, and one video at a minimum. And that's even in Facebook's content creation guideline. They put that out, I don't know, like a month or two ago when they launched Andromeda. And it tells you exactly how many of each you should have, which is exactly what I said, the bare minimum. But it also gives you the templates. So it'll say, this is what your images should look like for Instagram Reels. This is what it should look like for the stories on Facebook, that kind of stuff, right? So that's the first thing is have some place to send them, have variations, right? But I think probably the biggest thing that almost everyone needs to consider is, am I even ready to run ads yet? I know Chris already brought this up, but the last thing that you would want to end up doing is spending a whole bunch of money and getting nowhere and then wondering whether or not advertising works. I think we covered that with Tommy's question earlier, because advertising does work. For anybody that is on this call and you came in from an ad that you saw from us, it works, obviously. If you've ever bought anything from anyone and it was because you saw an ad on TV or an email that came in or something, advertising works. It just has to be the right time, the right place, the right market. Like there's all of these factors that just whether it works or not, that's you can't determine that, right? Yep. So for everybody, just know advertising does work. You just got to make sure that you're set up for success. Hopefully that helps, Soleil.
Now I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of current thinking from Timothy and I as well. We've been studying a lot lately on what the right strategy is. And there's too many people out there just putting out ads, kind of like we are too, direct call to action. Sign up for this lead magnet. Sign up for this free strategy Café session. That's fine. That's wonderful. Do you know what we could be doing a lot better job of? And you can expect us to do a much better job of this in the coming quarter at both Pykthos, at Mike Mandel Hypnosis. Timothy's going to be using this in Enter the Loop, I'm sure. The strategy is to again, what did we say? Why are we hosting these calls? To add value, right?
Add value.
How can you add value in an ad? Find out remember we talk a lot about who's your ideal client? What are their problems? Figure out what your brand messaging should be like. This is stuff we teach in the Pykthos Mastermind directly, but we're going to give you the shortcut version of it here. You've got to know who you're talking to, what's going to resonate with them, what their core problems are. Now shoot videos that talk about those things. Shoot videos that only people who would actually be interested in this stuff will watch. This is the polar opposite of trying to go viral on TikTok or something like that. What we're not going to do is because going viral is great when it's organic. Like, okay, I made a cool video and 1 million, maybe not 1 million, but like a lot of people saw it. I guess virality is a function of what's normal for you. So if a normal video gets 25 views and you put out a video that gets 5,000 views, that went viral relative to your normal. That's great if you're not paying for it. But if you're going to make a content that's like a 3, 4, 5 minute long video that nails something useful, so that is useful for your ideal client, and you pay not as an ad to get them to click on a link, but as an ad that is designed to get video views. Video view engagement is much cheaper than click-through traffic. Facebook will charge you more money to get them to click and go to your website, your landing page, Soleil, right?
Yeah.
But if you put a bunch of useful content out there and you just pay for Facebook to show it to your ideal audience, so they will figure out who your ideal audience is, because you're saying, hey, I care about people watching this video, X% of this video. Now you're going to warm up a whole bunch of people for very cheap that are interested in your topic. And then you have the call to action videos targeting the audience of the people who watched the videos that you just warmed them up with. And that's traditionally, this is nothing new. It's called retargeting or remarketing. But if you do it right by producing really good quality content, that's what most people aren't doing. What they'll do is they'll have, like, let's say we have an ad that says, hey, we've got these awesome hypnotic language cards. This is, by the way, true. I'm like creating a campaign. Here's the actual cards. I'm creating a campaign right now for, like, hey, you know, we've sold over 25,000 decks of these cards. True. But they take a bit of time to ship to you, and you have to pay for the shipping. We give them to you for free. Wouldn't it be awesome if we just gave you a digital version that you could have right now? Well, guess what? We just created that. And if you go here, you can have it, and it's totally free. And it comes with a course on how to use them, and it's really awesome. Great. That's me sending in an ad out to people to get them to click, to land on a landing page, to fill out a form to get a free thing. And traditionally, retargeting would be like, oh, they clicked on it, they visited, but they didn't take action. So now I'm going to use that audience and send them a follow-up ad and said, like, hey, you still haven't claimed these free cards. That's like the old way of thinking about retargeting. What I'm saying instead, and this is what we're going to be doing, is educate them, add value, real value, pay money to get in front of your ideal clients, and then retarget those people with your call to actions.
Yeah. Hopefully
and
that
you don't have
helps
a traffic problem. You can always go to the traffic store. Yeah.
Well, you have helped me decide. I've always avoided Facebook marketing, and I was looking for any other possible venue to use, and you've solidified for me. I'm going to start with the other venue. So,
Yeah, you can
but
start with any.
I
Like,
hate Facebook,
you
so
don't have to start. You don't have to use
no,
Facebook.
I'm
You
not
can
going
use
to.
you can use Google.
Yeah.
You can niche down to just YouTube if you want.
YouTube, TikTok, like start in YouTube, post everything there,
Absolutely.
and then you can do all your clips
Yes,
elsewhere.
and I
Yeah.
do think it makes sense to pick one to start with. It doesn't matter which one, in my opinion. I don't know if you have a
Yeah.
strong opinion on this, Timothy, but pick one,
Mhm.
get some traction with it, and then when you're comfortable, start rolling out more platforms.
Yeah. Thank you,
You're
guys.
welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Soleil. All right, Catherine. Hello, hello. No, you don't have your question? No? Okay.
Oh, no problem.
Not a problem. All right. Well, we've got a couple more questions here in the chat that we can get to here. So, where are we at?
Yeah, I lost track of where we were too.
So Lee Kessler actually has a couple of questions here.
All right.
And so I'm going to just combine them because they're kind of
I
the
think he
same.
said he's at work, so he can't probably unmute or
Yeah.
go on camera, so we'll just read them.
Yeah. So the first question is, how do we go about getting speaking jobs starting, and how do we get them to our hypnosis businesses? And he also asked, do you recommend getting formally set up with like a business license first, or focus on landing the first paying client before formalizing the business structure?
I don't really know how to answer the speaking jobs. What does that mean exactly? What do you think that means?
What I assume is that he's asking like speaking gigs. Like Mike used to do keynotes. How
Oh,
did Mike
yeah.
start getting his keynotes? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's an area that I just don't have a lot of expertise. We should probably bring Mike on to actually talk about that. You have to have an area that you can just kick ass in talking publicly about. You have to be a damn good public speaker. So you don't want to be getting jobs first. You want to be building the expertise. So you want to be showing up to things like what do you call those things? You know, in communities where you go and they're just like small business community circles.
Yeah, you talk. Yeah. You're like small business association.
Thank you.
Like,
Yeah. Those kinds of things. So start small because nobody's going to pay you for something that, exactly. Start getting really freaking good at having one message that you can just hammer on. In fact, Mike did, I don't know how Mike actually got an agent and all that stuff, but He developed a talk that he called Brain Software. Literally, that's why our podcast is called Brain Software, because when Mike was a keynote speaker, he produced a keynote called Brain Software, and it was funny, it was useful, it was super educational. And I mean, he retold the same stories thousands of times, and they're always funny to me, and they're always useful and make me laugh still. So you have to build the material first, but that's totally separate than becoming like a coach or hypnotherapist or anything like that. That's a
Yeah.
keynote speech.
Well, so I do have something though that I think would fit here, and that's actually what our oh gosh, I forget his name, Bradley, inside of the
Oh
Pykthos
yeah.
Mastermind.
Mhm.
He started attending Meetup.com, and he actually got a paid subscription, I think, and
Yeah.
started hosting free online events through Meetup. And it started slow at first, but now I think he said he had like 50 or 100 people that attended the last time he did it. And he
Yeah.
uses that as a way to basically practice online, conversational or, speeches or whatever he's doing. He's then funneling those people into here's what I do, pay me for my services.
Discovery calls. Yeah, actually, I'm really glad you brought that up because Bradley and one other member, I'll keep their information private, but
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
two members in our mastermind who both went and signed up for meetup.com, meetups or meetup.com.
Meetup, something like
It's
that.
a channel I haven't really used, but I know it seems powerful. And they used it. I don't know if they both did it for local, but one person definitely did it for a local group and had something like 600 members showing up or 600 guests just talking, just teaching something. Again, what is that? Giving value. That's an example of giving value. And then inviting people who are interested to take the next logical step, which would be in most cases to book a discovery call. So if you think back to that simple machine illustration that we showed earlier, maybe I'll pull it back up if you guys want, but it was like get them into a funnel that will get their contact information. So you could swap out a lead magnet with a meetup.com registration for your live event. Then a short-term engagement. Hey, awesome. I'm so glad. Just like you guys actually signed up for Strategy Cafe. What did you get? A bunch of emails that said, hey, awesome. I'm so glad you're here. We're looking forward to meeting with you at the next call. If you have a chance, hit reply. Let us know what you're struggling with. Guess what? Many of you hit reply. That gave us
Mhm.
good stuff to be able to talk about today.
Yeah.
And what's the next likely outcome? So they go to Meetup, they register, they get some short-term engagement, follow-up emails, they show up to the Meetup event and they get value. And then they're told, by the way, if you'd like to book a consult with me, I'm available. I've got a few spots on my calendar. Here's my booking link. That's the booking
Mhm.
call funnel. And then for those who don't, you're probably going to drop them into the long-term nurture email sequence, which is going to remind them of other awesome things that they can do. You're going to remind them of the upcoming meetups that are coming up. So that's sort of like a double whammy. You've got the long-term nurture, add value, and then you're going to have the occasional automated reminder email. Hey, we're doing the next meetup on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Hope to see you there. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and I do see some people are asking like, oh, is it still going strong? Like Meetup? Yeah, like Meetups,
Mhm.
that the meetup.com, that's what
These were
specifically we're talking about here.
recent things that our mastermind members said
Yeah.
were working for them. So
Yep. Yep. I
yeah.
do think, again, it's important for everyone to understand that it's not like it was just, oh, these, Bradley just went to meet up and then overnight had all these people.
Yeah,
It
you had to
takes
invest
it
time.
takes time.
Yeah, yeah.
And part of that taking time, again, going back to recording the metrics, is that you have to know that there is going to be some math involved in how many people showed up versus or like signed up versus how many people actually showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And then of the people that showed up, how many of them actually downloaded your free thing or bought something, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more layers you go down, the smaller the number is going to get. And so we know for certain, like typically on these Strategy Cafe calls, we get anywhere between 30 to 50 people that show up live. But we have probably 10, 20 times that amount of people on our email list for this call. So think of La Pareto principle, 80-20. Only about
Yeah.
20% of you guys show up. That's probably going to be the
Mm-hmm.
what we would call like the success number is if you get 20% of the people engaging with your content, showing up to your events, over and over again consistently, that's the sweet spot. but just know that it's going to go down. You're not going to get 100 people signing up and all 100 people are going to attend the call. If
Yeah,
those are the metrics you're aiming for, it's not going to happen and you're just going to end up upset. So just wanted to,
perfect.
yeah, bring that to your guys' attention.
That's a great. I'm glad you brought up the meetup thing because that, if you think about it, it's just it's another way to get traffic, but it's also a way to create the opt-in. The opt-in meaning they're opting in to communicating with you, email.
Yeah.
In case anyone hasn't heard that term before, opt in to email, opt out when they say I don't want to hear from you anymore. Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unsubscribe. Boop, boop.
and yeah. What else have we got in here? Because we could probably go for another 15 minutes or so.
Let's see here. Anna Wilson, and then we can get to surrender here. Anna actually has a great question, and she said, I had to run out. Can someone summarize what they said about Meetup? Then somebody answered,
Got
but
a replay. Yeah.
she asked earlier, what are the best lead magnet examples? Like, how do I present the lead magnet on social media?
Well, you're going to want to have a landing page that you can send people to that will communicate the value of the lead magnet and ask for the contact information. But in terms of the types of lead magnets, actually, we have a GPT that we have a lead magnet. We have a free lead magnet course. What is it? Get leads? Is it pykthos.com slash
pretty sure
get leads? I believe is the short link.
Get leads. Yeah.
Okay, somebody's going to type that in the chat. Probably Timothy, you're going to beat me to it because you're faster on the keyboard. Pykthos.com / get leads, all one word. There's a course that we created on getting leads. So in that course, we walk you through a lot of the fundamental things that must be true about the lead magnet. It must, I'll give you a couple of them off the top of my head because I probably don't remember every single thing without a cheat sheet in front of me, but it must be something that they can rapidly consume. The best in class is like something that they'll get the value from in 5 to 10 minutes. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do a free 90-minute workshop. That's okay. But a traditional lead magnet is like something that they can get value from immediately. 5 to 10 minutes. People have short attention spans. So a quick video is going to be better than the 3-day reminder series of emails or the 3-day like mini lessons by emails or an ebook that's going to take them 2 hours to read. Not a great lead magnet. A checklist, a list of resources. So how many times have you thought, oh, I'd like to set up a video studio for my home office, for my business. What equipment should I use? If somebody said, I got an equipment guide for how you can have amazing looking Zoom meetings, you go, yeah, I want that. And that takes you almost no time to consume. And that person is now an authority on equipment. Hypnosis download, like an audio track, is a very popular one, but in my opinion, isn't necessarily the best because it takes more time to consume. It does have higher perceived value and it seems special to people. We do it. We advertise our journey to the castle for Mike Mandel Hypnosis. We get very cheap leads, like about $1.50 a piece. So I think that's still quite useful. But you want to go after something that is fairly easy to consume in like 5 to 10 minutes most of the time. You want it to solve an immediate problem, but ideally also unveil the bigger problem behind it. So if it solves some aspect of the problem, it also opens their eyes to like, you know what? Oh, there's more to this. I want to work with that person who gave me the free thing. Like I'll give you like very meta example, Strategy Cafe. If we help you solve a problem about like Facebook ads or something, should I do X or Y? And it also unveils like that simple machine picture that you should have. Well, that's a good one too. The simple machine. Hey, here's what you should have. And you go, oh, great. I didn't understand that. Now I understand how an opt-in and a discovery call funnel work together and how the short-term engagement works together to get people into the booking funnel. But I don't know how to build that. That's the unproblem, the uncovering, the unproblem. That's a new one, like the Uncola 7-Up commercial. That is the problem that you're now uncovering the bigger problem. And you go, well, how do we do that? Well, if I told you, hey, join the Pykthos Mastermind and we could just push those assets right to your account, because that's what we're doing, that would be like, oh, wow. So that's a way that you can market without being sleazy and pushy and all that kind of stuff. So the lead magnet should help solve some problem, but begin to uncover a bigger problem that will be solved if they work with you. So it's not slimy. It's still useful, but it's like, I mean, if I taught you a little thing about investing, but, oh, by the way, like if you really want to become wealthy, you probably should do some, specific actions here that I can't give you in 10 minutes for free, but you can come into my office and I'll give you a consult and we'll talk about that, right? Great. People go, oh, fantastic. Financial advisor. Boom, done.
Yep. So hopefully that helps. Remember, just a quick recap. Lead magnets, 10 minutes or less. Cheat sheets, small videos, audio, hypnosis audios, guides, templates, that kind of stuff, tools even. So outside of that, I
I
think,
love Karina's comment here. Just listening today has given me my mojo back about
yeah,
increasing client numbers when I feel like I have tried everything and anything over the last 2 years. Some fresh ideas. Thank you. That's the goal here.
yeah. Thank you, Karina.
The
You're
fresh
welcome.
fresh ideas that fit into a system that just makes sense, right? And the more and more Timothy and I talk about this, that little simple machine is the simple freaking structure. Start with something that no more complicated than that. Nothing more, and possibly less complicated. Like maybe all you have is a booking funnel. You don't worry about the freebie opt-in. You don't worry about the long-term nurture yet. You build that over time. You just have that booking funnel. That's the heartbeat of the whole thing.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. All right. Surrender, you had your hand up, and I want to make sure that if you had anything.
Yeah, I have some experience with Meetup, so a couple of little things that I think might be helpful for
Oh,
everybody
awesome.
if you'd like.
Do
So
it.
one,
Yeah.
if you're brand new to it, you might get hundreds of people that opt in for your first one. I've seen it happen for two students of mine now in the last month. And I've been on Meetup for some time and I have never seen numbers like that. Um, I've looked at what they've posted and what I did, and I've tried to compare to figure out what the difference is. I can't figure it out. I don't know, Chris, Timothy, maybe you guys would be able to do it. But I've also had other people create Meetup accounts and they're not getting that level of result. There's something about the way that Meetup pushes this content out to people. I'm not really sure how it works.
Mhm.
I will tell you that the 30% rule seems to be pretty accurate. So if you get 600 people, 200 will likely show up. If you have that
Yeah.
many show up, you're going to want help. You need
Yeah.
somebody there monitoring the chat. You don't want people getting upset with you because they ask questions and you're ignoring them. You want to make sure you have somebody that's controlling, the people that come in. I've had it happen to me twice now where somebody comes in and they do something silly. They think it's funny. It kind of is funny maybe, but not funny when you're the one that's hosting the event. So you want
Yeah.
to keep an eye on that. Also, if having a call to action for a booked call is a great idea, but not everybody's going to want to book a call with you, and you still want their email address. So
Yes.
one way around that is to say, hey, look, click on the link and you'll get the PDF. You don't have to make notes for this call. I've taken care of that for you.
Yep.
And then they'll have both options. They'll get the PDF right away that they can print or they can save, and they can book a call. But not everybody's going to want to book a call with you.
I
And so
100%
do
agree
you
with you
really
on that.
want to not get the email address for people who don't book a call? Of course not.
Yeah, it's the idea of having a primary call to action and a secondary call to action, and never more than that, right? So if the primary one is you really want people to book a call with you, great, tell them that. But I love the idea that, hey, by the way, you don't need to take note. How many of you guys have been at like a live conference and somebody put a QR code and said, hey, if you want the slides, don't worry about note taking. I'm going to give you the slides. The QR code now pops up on the screen. Everyone whips out their phone. They QR code that sucker and asks for your email address. Where can I send the slides? Boom. That's exactly what Senator just said, right? It's like, I'll give you the
Yeah.
slides and you can go on better. You can say, even better, I'm going to give you a summary. I'm going to give you the Cliffs Notes of the whole presentation. Now you have their email. So those who want to book a call can, but those who aren't ready are at least on your email list. And that's where the follow-up happens. Keep in mind, only about
Yeah.
like maybe 2 to 3% of your ideal market is going to buy now. The other 97, 98% is going to consider buying later.
Yeah.
Yep.
100% agree. And I like what you said about when you get them on the call.
Mhm.
I mean, what I do is I say it's a 20-minute call and there will be something because I can't teach everything on whatever topic it is in an hour. Like I have one coming up and I'll do the same formula because it
Yeah.
works. And that is, hey, listen, if you want to take this further, whatever the topic is, you'll have 20 minutes of my time. Go ahead and book a call, and this is what we'll cover. Now people know that they're not going to get me on the phone and I'm going to try to sell them something.
Mhm.
Now, I'll make sure I leave an hour on my calendar. So if after the 20 minutes, after I give them the value that they came for, if they're interested in continuing a conversation with me, I have another 40 minutes free. So it might turn into a sales conversation, but it might not. It might just be
Yeah.
that person saying, wow, that was great. Thanks very much. I got to run. And the
Hmm.
most I'll say is, if you've got any other questions about what it's like to work with me, I'm happy to answer them. I've got some time. Otherwise, it was great meeting you. Sometimes they just say, no, I got to run. Thanks very much. But now they're on my list, and you never know that person. It's a
Yeah.
12-month sales cycle is the way I look at it. But anyway, those few tips for anybody who wanted to go on Meetup, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it.
That's awesome. And even outside of Meetup, Surrender, like that makes so much sense. I'm thinking back to things like in our hypnosis business, the architecture of hypnosis, which we do in Toronto. Actually, many of you guys on this call have been there. We never have to work hard to sell it out because there's only like 40-ish spots per class. And
Mhm.
how many people are like, oh yeah, the 2 to 3% who are ready to buy now they buy. The other 97, 98%, they're like, I want to go to that class. My dream is to go to Toronto, take that class, and they come later. I mean, we've had people 10, maybe 10 is an exaggeration, but close to 10 years. In one case, I can think of a guy, Patrick. He was probably like in the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy the day we launched it in June 2013. And then he came to Toronto last year. So that's more
Mhm.
than 10 years. This is the type of thing that happens when you're building the relationship with people over time. Now,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have 10 years to wait for the cash flow, guys, right? So you do need to find that 2 to 3% who are going to buy now. But what Surinder's telling you is a total goal that makes so much sense. You're just getting them on your list. You're going to continue to engage. The biggest thing you can do, if you take away anything, is build a freaking list and talk to them often.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And sometimes they don't talk to you. And I've had people
Yeah.
come to my meetups. I do one a month, basically. It's
Yeah.
people who've never booked a call. And then all of a sudden I get an email saying, yeah, I want to come to your course in September in Toronto. It's like, you haven't even talked to me,
Yeah. That
right?
happens a
But
lot.
they feel like they have because they've been
Yeah.
consuming my content for, a couple of
Mhm.
years.
Yep.
Yep.
That
Parasocial
that is very
relationships.
common.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was that, Timothy?
Parasocial relationships. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Man, that is so true. So that's the power of like start now, right? If you don't need a big ass fancy toolbox of every single tool, it can help you, but you need something to start collecting leads. And so I don't care if that something is MailChimp or that something is Pykthos or if that something is Active Campaign or Pykthos, whatever it is, just have
Or
something or a
Pykthos.
freaking
Or Pykthos.
spreadsheet. I mean, these days, geez, you could probably collect leads in a Google Sheet and use AI tools to draft emails through Gmail, like not in volume or anything, but like it could be done. So
Mhm.
you technically don't even need a platform if you don't want one.
Yeah.
But it's a hell of a lot easier to have something. Just start building the contact list. Even if you are only like me in school days, people would have a distribution list on their PC, right? And they would send jokes out or whatever, joke of the week, to their distribution list. That was just
Mhm.
old school.
Yeah.
Do
Speaking
anything.
of speaking of Pykthos and distribution lists and everything else that it could be, Chris, and this is not a pitch because we want to pitch. Anna actually asked, "What is Pykthos?" It sounds like it's more than what I
Oh,
thought.
okay, yeah. To answer Anna's question without being promotional, because we promise we will not on these calls, Pictos is a mastermind that comes with the software platform. Now, we're very transparent that behind the scenes, we're using a platform called High Level, but we are teaching you how to use it to run the kind of practice that we're all running. So it's a mastermind. It's just like this, but with much more hands-on help and stuff like that, regular weekly calls and all the
Mhm.
when we build assets, we build them for the use in the platform. So we can do like I could show you guys some screenshots of what we're building, and we can push those assets out into your account. So effectively, like think of it if you are familiar with any other platforms like Kajabi for courses and stuff like that, or if you've used ClickFunnels, or if you used like Keep or Infusionsoft or any of these other types of platforms, think of the Pictos Mastermind was built with the idea of we mastermind together with consistent processes and ways of doing marketing, and we use a consistent platform. We use the best in class platform together such that if the Pick This Mastermind team gets enough requests that if somebody has a specific need, like I'm doing a live webinar, cool, we could help you make the whole funnel and help you build it And then it becomes an asset that the entire community can use too, because it can just like debrand it, like just take off person X's branding, rebuild the page in a way that works for you, and you can repurpose it. So um, that's the whole idea. Instead of just getting a tool, having a tool that a bunch of other people are all using the same tool in a consistent way with a consistent framework of how to do marketing. That's basically the idea.
Yeah. So to I briefly package it all together, and for everybody else, it is meant to give you your brain back because
Mm,
a lot of people go on research mode and they go into think mode and what do I do? And we're there several times a week to answer those questions to ensure that you're doing things the right way. Because there are a lot of people in this industry that will tell you that their way is the right way and it's not even working for them. Chris and I are,
mhm.
we've known this industry for a while. Chris is
Yeah.
much longer than me. Mike, much longer than Chris, right? And so we are modeling what we know already works, and we have the tool as well that we think is the best in class to help you with that, so that you don't have to struggle, so you don't have to worry about am I going to do. It's all lined up and it's ready to go. You don't have to even think. It's just
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, and I think I think the question you're asking is if you want to hear more about Pykthos, just email us after the fact or anything. The yeah, high level, which we use, is included in the mastermind, so you don't have to go buy it.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, what we're offering in Pykthos is not included in the Mike Mindell Hypnosis Academy. Separate companies.
Yeah.
One is a hypnosis training company, that's Mike Mindell Hypnosis, and the other is business marketing, that is Pykthos.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't know what you guys think about this, but over the years, I when we were running the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy, people would have business questions, and so we would put some business resources in there, but we didn't have the tools we have now back then. And so when we started Pykthos, I think we kind of accidentally fell into this framework where some schools will charge you like ridiculous amounts of money to learn hypnosis and also promise to teach you the business side of things. So let's say for 10 grand or something, right? And we created the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy. So it's 49 bucks a month for all the courses. That's sort of the learn how to do the hypnosis piece. And if you want the business piece, that's where Pykthos exists. That's the business side of it, which we're doing here. But that way you're not, you're getting to choose. It's sort of like, do you want the A or do you want the B or do you want the A and the B? In which case you just join them both, but you don't have to. So some people are going to go, man, I already have all the hypnosis skills that I need. I don't need MMHA. I mean, I don't know why you'd say that. Of course, it's awesome, but I don't need that. Okay, great. You need the business side. So make your choice. Pykthos exists for that option. Or you could say, you know what? I only want the hypnosis training stuff. I'm never going to do this as a business. Now, none of you guys would be on this call, obviously, then. But for the people who only want to learn hypnosis as, let's say, a hobby, I just want to have I want to have hypnosis skills so I can help my kids live a better life. I want to be a better influential parent, or I'm a school teacher and I just want to have a better command of the classroom, or I'm an executive and I want to run a more effective leadership team. Do you think those people are interested in the business side of hypnosis? Of course not. So that's why MMHA doesn't have those things baked in. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yep.
I'll
Hopefully
take
that
that,
helps.
the silence as
Anna?
a resounding yes.
Yes. Yeah, she says yes, it makes
All
sense.
right,
Awesome.
cool.
All right.
They really are different skills, right? Like I know you could put them together, but I like the metaphor a lot of that kitchen, cabinetry design. If you're doing custom kitchens for people, you can be an amazing kitchen designer and cabinet maker, but then the business is the entrepreneurial side of getting clients, invoicing, administration, customer communication. So to do you just want to be a hobby cabinet builder or do you want to sell cabinets as a business? And I think they're two totally different things. Some people just study for the hobby, and some people already have the skill and just want to learn the business side of it. And it makes sense for me for them to be different.
Yeah.
Pykthos,
And
Pykthos Mastermind is Pykthos Mastermind. The software we use is high level, and it's included in the mastermind. That's the nuance, Catherine.
yeah. Yeah. So Pykthos is the name of our company. And then the platform that we all use in the mastermind is a white label version of Go High Level. The difference though is even if you were to go to like Kajabi or something else,
Mhm.
you're not getting our specific training that is industry specific hypnotists, coaches, hypnotherapists with what we know, our team knowledge, all of that
Mhm.
packaged together. If you were to go to like Go High Level or Kajabi on your own, they're going to have very generic, here's how to get started, and then you're on your own.
Well, if that, yeah. I mean, yeah, I've seen a lot. This, just keep that in mind. However you move forward, you're probably you're going to have a tool, and you're going to need an understanding of how to implement that tool. Those are two totally different things. So forget about Pykthos for the moment. Just imagine you were using like any other course. Like, let's say you were looking at ClickFunnels, because that's probably another pretty decent platform out there. And you could sign up for ClickFunnels, and they will allow you to build landing pages and email campaigns and all that other stuff. You need to know what you're doing. How are you building that? So you either have to like hire a coach, figure it all out yourself, buy a course that teaches you how to do it, or join a community that's already using it. I don't know if such a thing exists for ClickFunnels. If it did, then that would be an option. So those are the things we've just tried to make it easier by putting it all together inside of the Pykthos Mastermind. That's our business objective. But you're definitely going to need to learn how to implement the tools. And unless you want to kind of geek out over these things all the time, find other people who are doing it as well. That's the best advice I can give you. Don't do it alone. Find other people who are using the same platform you're using in the same industry that you're working in, so that you can work together and brainstorm and share learning. We just make it easier by putting together a mastermind. It's 12:30.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if there's any last bits here, but hopefully I want to
Yeah.
answer the questions without seeming pitchy. But yeah,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
do
I
want to
mean,
know more, just reach out to us, team@pykthos.com. We can help you out. We can tell you, we can spend more time actually answering your questions, showing it to you if you want to know more about it. But for now, we just want to make sure we're adding value for you guys. And we'll send out summary notes of this call as we always do. It'll go up on Spotify as the Pykthos Strategy Cafe podcast, and we'll do another one in 2 weeks' time. We
yeah.
would love you guys to keep sending your questions in. You can send us your landing pages and websites and stuff like that if you want us to take a look at them before a Strategy Cafe call, so that we're better prepped to add value for you. Any closing remarks, Timothy?
Yeah, I'm just so happy and grateful that all of you were here to spend your Friday afternoon with us. And we look forward to seeing you guys. Again, if you're interested at all, even just considering Pykthos, it's Pykthos. You can check us out. The mastermind is pykthos.com/mastermind. And if you want to attend this call live and get your questions answered live with us, then you can register at pykthos.com/cafe. And we look forward to seeing you on the inside next time.
All right. Thanks once again, and
Good
good night.
night.